I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. So, we're going to get into chapter 2. And chapter 2 is the unexpected transformation. The next morning, Jane awakened to human nurses at her bedside. "Hello, Miss Jane," one of them said to her. Jane said, "How do you know my name?" The nurse said, "I don't. But anytime someone comes into this hospital without any identification, we will label them as Jane Doe, and the males are called John Doe." She said, "But now that you are completely awake, can I have your name for our records?" Jane said, "My name is Jane, Guardians of the Zodiac Land Royal Family." The nurse laughed at her, pronouncing her name like she's in a royal kingdom. She said, "So that's Jane Guardian, right?" Jane, remembering where she's at, and replies, "Yes, that is my name." The nurse tells her, "Well, you can go home today." She said, "You need to stay off that ankle for a few weeks. Then things should go back to normal. You seem to be healing faster than normal, so we're sure that you will be okay. There's prescription medication in this bag to go home with you, and you're to take 2 daily for pain. If you like, I'll call someone to come and pick you up." "No, I'll be fine going alone," Jane replied. Then Travis walked in and said, "Oh, no, you won't. I'll take you home, ma'am, if that's okay with you," he said. Jane looked at him and smiled. She wasn't sure why her parents warned them to stay away from humans, because this human boy didn't seem to be harmful at all, so she decided to go with him. Besides, she had no one or where else to go, and needed to rest and try to figure out what had happened to her body. "Yes," she said to Travis, "that would be great." He helped her out of bed and into a wheelchair. Then he rode her to his truck. They drove on the highway silently until they reached the neighborhood where he lived. He took her to his father home in the backwoods of the city. "It's not much," he said as they pulled up to his house, "but hopefully you'll be comfortable here at least until you feel better." She said, "Oh, it's fine." But it really wasn't to her. She'd come from an enchanted forest where everything was beautiful and colorful, and this house wasn't colorful at all. It was old and raggedy, and they didn't have grass, only dirt and gravel. She was more used to her landscape of the enchanted forest, and this was much different, but she wouldn't complain. He'd help her out of the truck and into their house. "Thank you," she said, as he set her down on a couch that wasn't bad at all. She looks around the room, and it is very colorful with different photos posted all over the walls, and flowers were everywhere, different colors and kinds. "Your house is very beautiful, Travis," she said. "I really appreciate your help." He said, "Thank you, and don't worry about it. I would have never left you out there alone anyway." She said, "So where's your parents? Are they out in the pastures?" she asked. "The pastures?" Travis regurgitated, confusingly, saying, "Oh, no, we don't have pastures." "And it's just me and my father now that my mom has passed from cancer a couple of years back." "What's cancer?" she asked. "An evil illness that's take over the best parts of your body and destroy you over time," he replied. "It ate at her for years," he says, "and she kept it from us until the day she passed." "My apologies," Jane responded. "No, you're fine," he says. "Do you think you can remember where your family is now?" "Yes, they're in the forest," she says, "and I must get back to them." She tries to get up, forgetting she now has human legs. Travis catches her as she's about to fall. "Hold up, little lady," he says. "Let's just wait till you're feeling better. Then I'll take you back to your family." "Do you promise this?" she asked him. "Yes, I promise," he replied. She sat back on the couch, feeling sleepy now. The medicine that the nurse had gave her at the hospital was now starting to kick in. "Here," Travis said as he gave her a pillow and a blanket. "Just get some rest. I'm going to do some work in the back. If you need me, just call me." "Okay," she said, as she lay down, stretching out her legs on his couch. This body seemed weird to her and almost normal at the same time. Travis asked could he get her something to eat before he left. She said, "No, I'm fine." "Well, okay," he said. "Get you some rest, please, ma'am. My father will be home from work later. Hopefully and maybe we can talk some more when you awake," he added. "Okay, we'll talk more later," she responded. Then he headed out back to finish the project that he was working on. Hours later, Jane awakes from her sleep. She walks through Travis' house calling his name, looking for him. "Travis," she calls out to him. "Travis, where are you?" He came running back into the house. "Hey, is everything okay?" he asked. "Can I get you something?" "Some water would be nice," she replied. He went to get water for her. When he returned, he handed her the glass of water and then said, "How did you get up?" "Your ankle is broken." He said, "You're not supposed to be on it." She responded, "Oh, it's starting to feel much better now." "Really?" he said. "Then you must be stronger than you look." "What about your bruised ribs? Are they also feeling better?" he asked. "Never better," Jane replied. "My God, lady, who are you?" he said. "When I fractured my ankle, I couldn't move for weeks." "Dang, girl, what kind of superpowers do you have?" he sarcastically asked. She replied, "In my land, everyone heals within less than 2 days. Then we're back out in the pastures with our friends." "Where are your lands?" he replied. "Are you not from around here?" he asked. "I'm from the Zodiac's lands," she said. "Have you ever been there before?" "No, but I've heard of that place being some kind of fairy tale land that only few have seen," he replied. He hands her a picture in a frame. "Here," he says, "is this the Zodiac lands you speak of?" "No, but it does kind of looks very similar," she said. "Our lands are vibrant and colorful with beautiful pastures everywhere," she added. "It's not fairy tale though," she said. "There are soldiers that want our land, and now my parents have probably been killed by them, and I don't know where my brothers are. I must get back there," she says. "Can you show me the way?" "Hold down there, missy. You must heal first," Travis says. "But I'm fine," she says. "I must get back to my family before it's too late." "Okay, just wait," he replied. "I promise to you, I will. But you have to promise to wait till the morning." "Why?" she replied. "Why should I wait until the morning?" "Why can't we go now?" she asked. "Well, for starters, I have to finish up the work I'm doing around the house. And I must hurry to secure this house before I go anywhere." "Why?" she asked. "Why must you secure this house, making it dark and boards all over the windows?" "It's kind of a traditional thing we do around here," he replied. "This is California 2055, where every year around this time, the city has a purge night," he says. Jane said, "What is a purge night?" He replied, "It means one night a year from 5 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock a.m. The people of this town have the right to take, kill, or destroy anything and anyone or place that they decide. So humans would come here to destroy your home and maybe you also? Is that what you are saying to me?" she asked. "And they would be free to do so without any guardsmen trying to stop them?" "Yes, that is what I'm saying," Travis responded. "But we don't have guardsmen here. We only have cops," he said. "Cops? What are cops?" she asked. "They're people who protect others from any harm, but they won't be available purge night," he said. "Is purge night tonight?" she asked. "No, it starts 2 nights from tonight, and that's when the whole city will be under attack." "Oh, that's not good," Jane says, And why is that allowed? I don't know. I think it's a stupid thing to do also, Travis says. Jane said, if I was queen of these lands, I would never allow such foolery to ever happen. I would have forever lived free and happy of your lands, and no one is to ever cause harm to another life, or else my guardians will be off with their heads without any regret. And that should make them all want to live happily without thinking that it's okay to cause harm to any other life. Yes? Wow. Okay, now you're really starting to make me believe in this Zodiac land, he said. But how did you get over here? She said, the last thing I remember is running from the soldiers. Then I wake up in a small room and you were there. I have no idea how I got here, she responded, but you must help me get back. I can help you finish faster. Then we can go, she asked. He said, no, I couldn't have you help me with all of this work with bruised ribs. Jane says, but I don't have ill bruises, ribs. I feel fine. See, let me show you. Then she grabs the hammer from him, almost knocking him over. Wow, whoa, okay, Travis says. Sure, why not? She said, well, let's get started. Travis said, wait, I have something for you. He went in the back of the house and came out with her bow and arrow. Here, he says, this was with you when we found you on the highway, and I kept it safe for you. She grabbed it out of his hands and said, great, thanks, Travis. That was really nice of you. She gives him a kiss on his cheek, and then she says, now where do I start? They go out back. He shows her what to do, and he watches in amazement as she walks on her ankle. She stood up and walked around as if she wasn't just in an accident less than 48 hours before, and the doctors also said that she had bruised ribs. But how was she able to walk around this soon? What is this Zodiac land all about, he thought to himself. Jane took on most of the boards, putting up 4 by the time he was finished with only 1. By the time that he was done with his second board, she'd done the rest of the whole house. Okay, Travis, are you ready to go? She says, as she finished. What? He responded, saying, it's at least 10 more windows that need boards on them. Nope, she responds. They are all finished up now. But you gotta be kidding me, he said. Then he ran around the house checking all the windows, and she was right. She finished them all perfectly. Dang, girl, he said, how did you do all of them so fast? Jane laughed out loud and said, it's just magic. Then she said, no, I'm just kidding, just joking with you, bud. We build our own homes. Where I'm from, Travis. I apologize if I took over your work, she said. No problem at all. Thank you, he said. This got done faster than I expected, and probably anyone, he says. I'm thankful for your help. You're welcome, she replied. Now can we go? Okay, just let me change and gather up some gear, he said. I'll be right back. He looked back at her and said, would you like a change of clothes yourself? He said, my mom still has old clothes and shoes here that should fit you just fine. I don't think you want anyone looking at you strange with those on that you're wearing. Oh, really? And what's wrong with my attire? She asked. Nothing, he said. It's just not what people are used to around here. And I don't think you would like them staring at you all crazily, he added. Well, I guess, she said. I do like the sparkle, though. Where's your guys' river run? She asked. Rivers don't run through here, he replied. Why would you need a river run, he said. Why, to sparkle. Why, it helps my coat shine, she said. What coat, he asked. Jane looked down at herself, having to remember that she is now completely human. Oh, yeah, she said. Just point in the direction as the water is in, and I'll be fine from there, she said. Travis pointed down the hall of his house to their bathroom door. He said, "You can wash up in this bathroom, and I'll set the clothes and shoes outside of the door for you." "Okay, thanks," she said as she headed to the bathroom. It is another small, tiny room, she thought as she entered it. She wasn't used to this human way of bathing. She had to figure out how to turn on the water, and she did so with no hassle. Although this wasn't her usual way of shining up, it wasn't so bad. The room was much smaller than she's used to, but she was also smaller than she was used to, and she just enjoyed the water on her body so much. She often wished to have gifts like the Pisces, always being able to stay in the water and swim any time that they wanted, but she was just fine with only being able to bath in it sometimes. Once she was done, she looked out the door and sees the clothes and shoes. She gets them and put them on, and they fit perfectly. She looks at herself in the mirror, and these clothes aren't as bad as she thought they would be. She would normally wear royal coats like dress covering up her whole entire body, but these clothes were different. They weren't covering her whole body completely. Her arms were out, the very pretty sequins blouse. Her legs were partially showing because he gave her a black skirt that only stopped at her knees. Her hoofs, that are now human foot, had on some black 3-inch open-toe heels, and her legs are human now, but they are still strong like a horse and beautiful. When she walked out of the bathroom, Travis was standing in the hall waiting for her. Now that she's no longer wearing her normal royal clothes from Zodiac land, she looks even more beautiful to him. "You look absolutely stunning," he says. She was used to Zodiac, Aries, Taurus boys flirting with her, but never a human boy. She looked and gave a little smile at him. She said, "Thanks for these items, Travis. They are gorgeous." "You're welcome, my dear," he responded. "Now shall we go?" he asked. "Yes, absolutely," she said. "Let's go." She hadn't told him that she was really half horse and human yet, but she wasn't exactly sure what she was at this point right now anymore. And she thought once he shows her the way back home, she would never have to see him again. They got in his truck and headed to the other side of town. He took her back to the highway where they found her. He said, "This is where we found you. Apparently you ran from the east way, coming through those woods. No one ever tries to go through there, and from what I hear, that's how you enter the fairy tale land." "Okay, thank you so much for helping me," she says, while attempting to get out of the truck. "Hold down a minute," Travis says. "Don't leave your dress." When she turned around to get her dress, he immediately kissed her, and she too in return kissed him back gently. They held each other's lips for about a minute before she grabs her dress and hopped out of the truck and ran into the forest. "What was that, Jane?" she said to herself as she ran. "How can you kiss a human?" she asked herself. "What were you thinking?" "But it was really good," she said to herself. "I've never felt that before." His lips were soft and warm, and the smell of his breath was like mint leaves. "Oh, what a feeling," she thought before saying, "Jane, snap out of it. You must find your family." She quickly took off her human clothes and put back on her royal attire. She ran through the woods as fast as she can. Then she noticed she was back at the enchanted forest. Her hoofs was back, and she had 4 legs again. "What's going on?" she thought. "Was I just dreaming?" she questioned herself, but she knew it wasn't a dream. It couldn't have been. Her right hoof was still a little sore, and she still had the human clothes in her arms. She could also still taste the mint from Travis's lips. But something was surely not right. How could I have known to change into my attire? She says to herself. Why did I turn completely human on a human's land? She pondered. Is that the reason why everyone was so protective of her? Am I cursed by some evil spirit? I must find my family and tell them what has happened to me, she said. Then she continued looking for her brothers through the forest, pouncing as low as she could. so that she wouldn't be heard by the soldiers. They've already taken her parents, and she wouldn't let them take her alive. Okay, guys, that's going to conclude chapter 1 and 2 of Zodiac Land, The Rise of the Guardians, written by Janie Carter. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a comment down below and tell me how you feel about these 2 chapters. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming by, listening to this book reading. Also, I want to thank everyone for purchasing these books of mine, Jane's Chronicles and Zodiac Land's Rise of the Guardians. I so appreciate you guys very, very much. Stay blessed, stay humble, and peace.